I mean, it just depends. Everyone's in different areas, but you really want to learn. I mean, I think it starts with reading and following the right people. There's a lot of people like you can say like Grant Cardone. If you can't afford an event, just start by following him and absorb his content. Like unfollow other people that are distracting you and just follow other people that are doing the good things. That maybe, let's say, you don't have the money to invest with them, but they do a lot of free content on social media. And if you take it to the next level, you go on YouTube. They put longer version of content, which is really good, that you learn very well. But at the end of the day, the best way, and you can say the fastest way to actually learn it, is when you go in person. Why? Because you interact with people, you meet people, you network, but there's nothing like being in person. Nothing like being there and like actually like taking notes and like really like applying it to whatever you have going on. So for me, yeah, it just starts like, you can say that's like the free, and then people always do free stuff. They do free webinars. They do sometimes they do free like the 10X conference this year. They did like a free live. Like there should be no excuses.
What's up, guys? Today we are here with Nestor Gutierrez. He's the CEO of Rancho Express Loop, also the founder of Infinite Growth Expo. And today we're going to be talking about 10X coaching, how he started his own event, and what he's learned through mentorship and from all of that. So welcome, Nestor. It's good to have you on. I love the studio. I love the little setup in the back. Cool.
Hey, Rafael, thank you for having me on here, brother. It's crazy. We met almost a year ago, and look, we're both doing big things, and like crazy things happen when you take action. So I love what we got going on.
Yeah, so to that, me and Nestor met at one of 𝗪𝗶𝘁 𝗪𝗶𝘁 5K mastermind events. Yeah, that's crazy, a year ago, yeah. And that's where we kind of met. We learned some of Albert's marketing and operations. And then what's really cool and why I really wanted to have a Nestor on here was because I saw just how much you took action after that mastermind. So literally after that mastermind, you started the Infinite Growth Expo, you started promoting it, and you got some like really killer speakers at your first event, which was like pretty incredible to see. So I'm excited to kind of like learn more about like how that went and all of that. So I guess to that, what kind of sparked the idea of like doing the event?
I just love challenges, so that's why I took it on. When Albert was saying everyone should have their own event, it's like, man, he's right, And at first, like I was thinking small. I was, hey, how does 50 people sound? He's like, do 200. You can do 200, and okay. And then once we got to 200, and I'm like, what about we shoot for 350? So we shot for 350. Obviously, it was hard. We ended up having like 212 people at the event, which I thought it was great. I honestly didn't think it was gonna be that much. Like the way things were going, like the first like couple months, it was too good. Really, to be honest, sales didn't come in until like 3 weeks before, like really good. Before that, like one or two would come here and there. But like 3 weeks before, like we started averaging about three ticket sales a day. And then the week of is like, damn, we got to get to work, because we only had like, if anything, we only had like 40 people. And then that last week before the event, and Albert has said it, he's like, hey, don't panic. Everything's going to be good. Everyone always buys last minute. Everyone's always going to be like waiting to the last minute to buy the ticket. And sure enough, like he helped me promote as much as possible. But what I learned in this journey was I was forced to do all the things that I hated, like doing the live, doing all the social media and all the other stuff that I didn't like it forced me to do it. And I'm glad it did, because now I feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah. And how long did you promote it for?
You know what? Well, the mastermind was the first week of September. The Infinite Growth Expo happened November 18th. So, I mean, technically about like 2 months and a half, you can say.
Holy shit. See, and that's what I mean about Nestor taking massive action. So he attended the mastermind in September, and then two months later, the event was hosted, or you started marketing?
So,
holy shit, that's crazy.
So the conversation me and Albert had that day was like, I'm like, hey, so how should I get it started? You know, he's like, communicate with the most top like people that you know that are influential, and then you know, go from there. And then literally that day, I texted all the people, all the contacts that I had, and they all said yes. I'm like, shit. Well, now it has to happen, you know. So luckily, you know, I have a lot of people in my network that I build relationships with. So that was a big help for the event. Yeah. And then obviously, you know, Albert was very helpful with the event. He's done it many times, so he guided me through the way. So it made it easier than you can say it was supposed to be, but I mean, it was still complicated.
Yeah. And when you reached out to these people, did he just like send them a text, or was it like, hey, I know, just like a simple text, like, hey, you want to be at my event?
Like, hey, you know, I hope you're doing well. I'm planning to have an event in November. I would love to have you there. Let me know what you think. And right away, yeah, I'll be there, bro. Let me know what day. I'm like, shit, it's pretty real.
And what about when it came to like the operation side, like the tables, the venue, all of that? Was that all you? Did you like
when we did this? It was we did it as a team with between two other people. So I was they took care of operation more than anything, like the website, how everything looked in there. Like that was very helpful because like for me, you know, I was like the visionary. I'm like, hey, you know, bring the speakers, I'll do this, I'll do that. But then all the other operations, I'm not really good at it.
Yeah, so they found the venue and everything.
The venue, so the venue was another little hiccup that we ran into because one place that we wanted to was a Sheraton in Pomona, at the Fairplex, and it wasn't available. So then it got a little bit like it was 2 weeks into October, there was still no venue. I was like, shit, dude, like we're almost a month away and there's no venue, you know? And
yeah,
cool, you know, nothing to worry about. Like, man, like, what do you mean? You know, like there's nothing around the area available. And then I'm part of the Chamber of Commerce, and it was just like an idea. I'm like, you know what? Last time they had an event at the convention center. Let me see if it's available. And then we reached out. We got a great deal on it, so it worked out. And that's how that happened. You know, it was kind of like the last resort that we had.
Yeah, that's cool, man. I love how Albert's just like, no, like just relax. Like I've been here before. Like you're good.
Give me a little piece of mind you can say, because I was like, damn, this is not going good, you know. But he was always in the back, you know. I said, hey, just it'll be fine.
Yeah. And what did like the numbers look like? Was it like profitable, break even? Like what was like that?
It was not profitable. I did not break even. I lost about like 27,000, you could say. And I learned that too, that, you know, an event is not really to make money. You look at events that happen out there, you know, even 10X, Ryan Pineda's, none of those events really make money. Maybe here and there they'll make money, but more than anything is for branding. You know, that's just to put yourself out there. That was the purpose. So the way I was like, you know what, I spent 27,000 to get out, and great things happen from that, because I also won more stages, and I also won more podcasts out of that. So I saw the power of it, and that's why you know, I'm gonna keep doing this yearly, and like it's very expensive. It's like everything else, you know, start adding up, and it's like, damn, you're like way in there.
Yeah, what are like the biggest expenses? I would guess like the venue.
The venue. It was the actual venue. We paid like $950 because we got a discounted rate for being a member of the Chamber of Commerce.
Wait, 950 or
yeah, that was it for the venue itself. Where it got expensive was the AV and the audio, the videographer, the food, all the nitty and gritty, like. That went up real quick, you know, to like I would say about like 25,000, like that, you know. Then now that's not even adding all the expenses, you know, like that we did like an app, like the shirts that we made, the hats, all the merch, like it just keeps adding up and up and up. And then we ran ads. Probably spent like overall, we probably spent like easily around 8-9 grand through Facebook ads, Instagram ads. So that was that. And then there was a few speakers that we did have to pay. Not everyone came in for free, but there was two that we had to pay. So that was mainly it. But yeah, it's expensive. I can say that it's expensive, but like not to just leave it there, because I mean, at the end of the day, it just like depends where you try to do. That's the way I saw it. I'm like, I'm already spending this much on ads. If I combine it, I'm like, I always try to look like find the positive, out of everything.
Yeah. And when you went into it, did you kind of have an idea like, okay, this might not be profitable, but I'm still gonna grow?
Yeah. Since the beginning, when we sat down, we were doing numbers. I'm like, damn, no, that doesn't seem right. Like adding up all the expenses to the ticket sales, I'm like, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
There could be some profit there. But then as it started getting more realistic, and it's like, okay, at this point, I don't care if like we don't even make any money. Like for me, it was more like, hey, I want at least 200 people in the actual event, And it was crazy because the day of that morning, I think it was like 13 people bought last minute, like between like 6 a.m. to like afternoon. It is like, damn, like I wasn't expecting that, like for me, like I think the last ticket sale that I saw was like around 1 a.m. And I was literally like just checking my phone the whole time. Like, I need more sales. I need more sales. I remember that day I went live like 12 times. Like, and a lot of sales came from the lives. A lot of sales came from the live. I was talking about it, and then people were committed, and yeah.
That's awesome. And then I know you're throwing another one, right? There's the next one's coming up.
Next, I'll be at the place I wanted it last time. It's gonna be at the 𝗵𝗁 𝗪𝗁 This time around, we're looking for 1,000 people plus. That's the target. It does hold about 2,500, so it's a big space. That's why we have a bunch of speakers this year. I think we have a total of 11, if I'm not mistaken. It's gonna be there August 10th, Pomona, California, and then 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We're gonna have a after party, and then just gonna have a good time.
And like, what are you gonna do this time differently that you did that you learned from last time?
Well, you can say that this time around it's gonna be a little bit easier, just being the fact that when people ask, "Oh, what is it?" Like, hey, that you have that backup now. Oh, this is what happened last year. Proof of concept. Now, like we have that on under our belt. The second thing would be is now we have more time to promote it. Last time it was like about technically we started running ads like 5 weeks before the actual event, so that wasn't really enough time. So now we already started promoting it. We already have a couple sales coming in, so like that's what we bumped the amount of guests that we're shooting for the same reason, just because we have more time. But not only that, I've also learned last year that the most efficient way that I was selling a lot of tickets was when I was going to networking events in the area. I remember that there was a couple of events that I went to the week before. It was one at Chino Hills, and the other one was in Corona, and I sold over 10 at each. And it was just talking about it, just we made flyers. We put them on the tables, and people were like, "Oh, what is this? Oh, I know this person. I know this person. Oh, and then a lot of people came from there, and now we're good friends. So I'm trying to do the same this time around. Like now, I know what worked last time, so I'm trying to duplicate that.
And who are like some of the big guests this time you're having?
The big guests are Tim Story. We're gonna have Greg Reed. He's part of the Think and Grow Rich Foundation through Napoleon Hill, and we're gonna have Chris Colley. She's another amazing person. We're gonna have David Meltzer. We're gonna have Mario Arizon as well, great leader. We're gonna have man, that's just so many speakers, like it's just like I'm super excited because I would have never thought, like I would be bringing Tim's story to the event, a year later.
Yeah, Tim Story, David Meltzer, like those are some like big names at your second event. Like, dude, that's like pretty cool. Well,
I already committed to myself that I'm bringing Tim Grover. I already have a connection with that. He's working the way there, and then that's my big commitment for next year. But next year we do want to make it like a 2-day event now, because it's crazy how much like people we have like reaching out to speak now just because of that. They see who's being there and they want to be part of it. So we already have 3 people locked in for next year. that have reached out, and they have a really good following. So that's a good thing that I like seeing from it.
And like what's pretty cool is like, because you're connected with Albert, like Albert like has a huge network of people because he's been doing this for a long time. So that shows like the power of like networking and going to masterminds and all. And then what was it like? Because like, did he just text what's his name, David Meltzer or Tim Story, or did he like do that strategically, or how was that?
Like, I just went with the flow, you know. For David Meltzer, it was at the beginning of the year. Like, he started popping up on my feed a lot. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna try to bring David Meltzer in, and took my shot.
Yeah.
Every time he would go live, I would drop questions, and they were never answered. You know, I mean, he's busy, a lot of questions being dropped. So then it got to the point where I'm also part of 10X stages. So they help me like find other stages to speak on and whatnot. But point is, they're the ones that they came up with the idea. They're like, hey, maybe you should message David Meltzer's team about what it would take to either do something, you know, collaborate, either to be on his podcast or do something. So when she said podcast, I'm like, you know what? How about we do both? Maybe we can do a collaboration where he can come and speak at the event. I can also be on the podcast, and you know, win-win in every aspect. You know, so it took me about 4 weeks to finally get an answer from them through the live and whatnot. And the assistant reached out, and they're like, hey, you know, we're gonna have you come in today on the live. We're gonna give you 3 minutes. In those 3 minutes, go ahead and ask a question, and then David Meltzer will be happy to answer it. David liked the question, and then to put the cherry on top, I took my shot at the end. I'm like, hey, you know, what is it going to take for you to come and speak at my event? And I leveraged the name. I'm like, hey, last year we had Albert. I know that's where I actually met you at Driven 6. And he's like, oh, okay. So he felt connected. So I said, hey, let's stay in touch with Nestor. Let's see what we can do. And yeah, you know, we talked about it. I'm like, hey, I want to be on the podcast as well. And at the end of the day, like, we worked something where like it made a lot of sense to do it, you know. And then from being like, you know, in the circle now, he invited me like last minute to his TV show, and that's where I met a lot of great people. And then after that, we came back. We did the podcast at the SoFi Stadium. And as a SoFi Stadium, he was like, hey, we're having a dinner tonight. You know, there's going to be a lot of great people. Meta World Peace is going to be there. And Flex Lewis, Mr. Former Olympia, like, you should come. I'm like, okay. And that's when I ran into Tim's story. And I'm like, hey, Tim. I'm like, I always see you around with Albert. You know, like, I want to have his mentees. I leverage, once again, the name. And then he's, oh, okay. So once you leverage the name, that kind of gives you a bit of help. You know, that's what happened. And then we started talking. I'm like, hey, you know, Tim, I would love to have you at the event. Let me know what it's gonna take, and let's talk. And they're like, you know what? Let's go ahead and connect. He gave me his number. We did a 3-way with his assistant, and then the assistant, like, he's like, I'll make sure Tim's there all day. You know, so that's Tim came from David Meltzer, technically.
Okay. So
we look at all the speakers now, like, without even trying. Everyone know, like, they're all really good friends. Like, David is really good friends with Tim Story. They're really good friends with Greg Reed. They're really good friends with Chris Colley. They're good friends with Mario Arizon. And it's like, damn, without even trying, all these people are like, you know, like, very good friends, like, very, very friends.
Yeah, because it seems like they're all kind of connected in some way, right? Like, they know each other. They're good friends.
Because so they're all like book publishers. So that's the big connection. And I know that Greg Reed is actually a mentor to most of them. Yeah.
Gotcha. So I think that shows like the power of just like meeting different types of people. Because then you, like, now if you want to find another speaker, you're like, oh, I had Tim Story at my last event. I had Albert at my other event. I had Mario, and they're like, oh shit, I know those people. So it's like that's dope. That's really cool.
It easier and easier and easier and easier. And then you know, you want to get to the point, like Albert says, you know, like later people will want to pay to just be on the stage with a very, very big name, you know. So
that's cool, man. So tell me about you mentioned 10X earlier, 10X stages. tell me a little bit more about like 10x. Like, was that like after the mastermind, before that, or like, how did that like come
So
into
that
it?
one was right before the mastermind as well. Last year was
Yeah.
a breakout year because I just went full in like on mentorships. I committed to a big mentorship with Albert and committed to a really big mentorship with Grant Cardone. And I had started the Grant Cardone one in March of last year. And I committed to 10x stages in August. And that's when that was actually the first step, you can say, that will planted the seed for the event. Um,
Yeah.
I always go with my gut feeling. If something like sounds right or seems right, I'm like, you know what, let's go ahead and do it. When I went to the 10x stages, that was like the lower ticket event. Obviously that you go to an event, they try to sell you on a bigger product, and that's what happened. Yeah, it was the 10x stages. You work with an integrator like twice a month. They help you fight stages. They get you on stages. They get you on podcasts, and they help you with a signature talk, which that's how they call it, a signature talk. That like the way you speak on stage. There's a format, 5 minute, 15 minute, and it was 10 minutes. But they help you with the whole process. And I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna do that. That way, it's gonna help me overall. And not only that, like I do wanna be one day on stage. And then, when we go to Albert and they're like, hey, you can have your own event. It's like, you know what, that's the sign, like, let's go ahead and run with it. Well, that made it easier as well, doing the 10x stages, the commitment I made, because I felt like it did prepare me for the event. Not as much, if we look back, it didn't prepare me as much, but I think if it weren't for that, I would have been worse. Like at first, when I did go up on stage, like first time, I was really nervous. I'm like, I didn't know how to start it. But like after, like if it felt like normal, I felt like I was at home. Like I was just I went in shock for the first 10 minutes, you can say, but after, like I was remembering everything that we had practiced with the 10x, so now this time around, like, it's gonna be, it should be really easy. So I'm grateful for that. But that 10x stages product that I bought, you can say that it has paid itself, because it has gotten me in a lot of podcasts. Like today I was in a podcast with a good friend now that I met through 10x, 𝗖cie HS𝗲𝗲 he's in Long Island, New York. So that's one of them. And then the last 2 weeks, I was also another podcast with another good friend that I met from there. He's in Orlando. So like a lot of people that I'm meeting is through them. They're like, hey, like we have a whole list for you. There's 10 podcasts. There's 6 events. Let us know if you're interested. If it's a good fit, go ahead and apply. And like, there's like a competition, you can say, like I think there's overall in the program, there's about I want to say around 90 people. And then every month,
And the 10 type stages.
every month, like they give a prize. So there's people that are making like a lot of money. Like I know last month someone made over 180,000 for the month, just from stages, from speaking at events, from podcasts, or just whatever the case was. So every time there's a big number like that, they'll give you like either an event for free. I know that person got a 10x Growth Con, like the top of the line ticket for free. Like that was like a really good incentive. But that's like how you can say it's a competition. People are trying to get as many stages as possible, because at the end of the day, like it helps with the momentum, and like at the end of the day, like it's rewarding from their end.
And then to like get points, is it doing more events? Is that how it works?
Yeah. So like the whole time, like every time we meet, first 5-10 minutes, or like, hey, these are the events that we have. Go ahead and look them over. But you also have homework. You have to be reaching out, and they also want you to. Sometimes they're like, I'm gonna fight 10, and you fight 10, and then we're gonna go over them together. But what I like about it is that they have a whole, you can say a whole Google search engine, where like it's like they own the rights to it. But then there's a certain way you search an event. It can be like for me, it can be like automotive plus repair plus summit, and then it'll give you and you put plus Los Angeles, and then it'll give me like all the conferences related to automotive in this area. And it's through people that have been part of 10x, so it's like you're like 100% most likely gonna be part of it just because it's from their own people.
Right,
So
that network.
that's the power of that. Like you're able to get on a lot of stages just from that.
Gotcha. And then, so earlier you said you invested in the 10x coaching, right? Because like there's different products, and then there's that 10x stages. And then what about like that 10x coaching? I see you promote.
Yeah. So from all the all the money that I given Grant Cardone, I opened up another opportunity. This March? Yeah, in March, they reached out to me, and they're like, hey, like we see the investment. We think that you'd be a great fit to be a business coach. If you're interested, let us know. Obviously, there was another investment that came with that, but at the time, my friend Mike Martinez had just gotten a 10x coach too, and I reached down like, hey man, I see you're killing it. What do you think about it? He's like, hey man, you should do it. If it's kind of like, you can say it's kind of like by invite only. Sometimes there's other people that like want to be part of it, but there's a process. Like you have to meet certain guidelines in order to be a 10x business coach. He's like, the opportunity, I would say go ahead and do it because it's going to help you a lot with the brand. You can leverage the name, you can leverage 10x. So that's literally what I did. I'm still going through licensing. I can take on so how 10x business coach works is I have access to all of Grant's products, keynotes, everything. I have access to everything. So I don't have to make my own presentations. I don't have to do none of that. I could just be like, hey, I'm gonna use this one, just put my logo on it, and then like saving time. So that's why I did it mainly. So if I wanna be mentoring actually Grant's clients, I do have to be licensed. So that process does take about 3 months. I should be done probably by the end of May, because you have to train for like about 2 hours a day because there's just so much content you have to consume. And then you go to the headquarters, and once again, from the headquarters, you have access to like Grant, all his big people, Brandon Dawson, and all of his big team. And like for me, that's like I saw so much value in that. Just if you put aside the actual tennis business coaching, I was like, if I can be around Grant, Brandon Dawson on a regular basis, where like they invite you to their headquarters, I believe twice a year for 3 days, I'm like, I already saw the value right there. I'm like, I want to get closer to those guys. So like it all worked out in that sense, and now like it's a win-win because like I said, I have access to the content. I'm learning. I'm also applying it. I'm teaching it to my employees, and it's only helping me retain it and teach it to others.
Gotcha. So you're an official like 10x business coach now. Yeah. God. And then when the training you're gonna do, that's to mentor people under Grant. Is that what it is?
Once you become a license through Grant, that means every month they'll give you like 5 clients, let's say, for example. And if for those 5 clients, you can be making about like $10,000 per month for 40 minutes of your time. 10 people. So it's like, it's easy money, like you just sit with them, you coach them for 40 minutes and you can pay from Grant.
Yeah.
Obviously, he wants you to be licensed because some of those clients, they're big dogs. They're people who need a lot of money. Yeah. So that's why like he wants to make sure that you're in a good position where you understand the content and you're able to teach.
Gotcha. So then I think I saw on your Instagram, there's like you have like a school page for like 10x business coach. Is that something new? Is that something you're working on? Is that the same thing?
I'm working on. So that's my 10x business coaching, the group coaching. So on there, that's where I direct people. They want to be part of it. So we meet every Wednesday, 5 p.m. And that's where we go. It's kind of like the model that Albert does. So I'll do presentation on 10x material for 30 minutes, and another 30 minutes we do Q&A. So that's the group one, and there's different ones that I have, like one-on-ones, different pricing, but that's normally when people get started, you can say.
Gotcha. So kind of like Albert's, like that same format. Yeah. Gotcha. So then I think on there I saw that it says like you invested $300,000 like on masterminds and coaches. Would you say like a big chunk of it was towards like 10x?
Essentially himself, I spent roughly about 210. And I know last year, Albert, I topped the 100K too. And that's not including also Andy Elliott, not including other people too. So it's way over the line, but like, hey, like I see things working. So like, if for me, like the biggest one was the 10x one. That was kind of like the biggest one I made before I committed to Albert, because it was a lot of money. But when I saw the results, I'm like, man, I'm in. If it worked once, it's gonna keep working. So I gotta go back for more. So that's why I went. I threw more and more and more and more, and in the future, maybe like I can be. I do want to do like the 10x couples where they go, like I think in 2 weeks they're gonna go to the Caribbean, I believe, for 5 days. We're talking about in the badass yacht, with just Grant, all his close friends, all his billionaire friends, and it's like that's where you want to be, So I'm hoping to be part of that maybe next year. But that's the goal I want to get. Like I said, I'm after Grant. I really want to get closer to him and make him a good friend.
Yeah, man, that's awesome, because at the end of the day, all that, you could say 30,000 plus that you invested, that's all invested into yourself. So like no one could take that away from you, right? Like you could lose everything, but you already have, you have the connections, you have everything you learned. So like that's pretty cool. For someone who like wants to get started and kind of like in more like events, masterminds, like where would you think is like a good start for people?
It just depends. Everyone's in different areas, but you really want to learn. I think it starts with reading and following the right people. There's a lot of people, like you can say, like Grant Cardone. If you can't afford an event, just start by following him and absorb his content. Like unfollow all the people that are distracting you and just follow all the other people that are doing the good things. That maybe, let's say you don't have the money to invest with them, but they do a lot of free content on social media. And if you take it to the next level, you go on YouTube. They put longer version of content, which is really good, that you learn very well. But at the end of the day, the best way, and you can say the fastest way to actually learn it, is when you go in person. Why? Because you interact with people, you meet people, you network, but there's nothing like being in person. Nothing like being there and like actually like taking notes and like really like applying it to whatever you have going on. So for me, it just starts like, you can say that's like the free, and then people always do free stuff. They do free webinars. They do sometimes they do free like the 10x conference this year. They did like a free live. Like there should be no excuses.
Yeah, you have all that free content, all that free resources out online. But you would say like the in-person ones are even more.
Right? And there's some really cheap ones. I know like Grant does like there's one that I think it's a 10x business bootcamp. I think it's only like $397 for 3 days. Like $397 is like, it's pennies to what you're gonna get. Like it's crazy, That's actually like when I went to the event. That's where I got this book. This book right here. This book, man, I always refer back to this book. It has everything. It has like from marketing, from sales to leadership to people. Like it has so much information. And you can say, like if you pay $397, you got this book. If you pay the highest ticket, you still got the same book. So if you really want to get the best out of it, you can get the cheaper ticket. And that's an event that I always recommend to people, because it's like business 101, but like helping you scale the business, like in actionable steps that you can actually see and learn from someone that has done it before.
Yeah, man. Events are so powerful. Even like when I went to Albert's mastermind, that was the first time I actually invested in masterminds and stuff. And I was like, man, this is really cool. Like all of these people are business owners. Like you're meeting good people. You're meeting, like learning from like someone who's a millionaire who's done it. You know what I mean? So like that just from that experience, I'm like, dude, this is like, I got to do more of this. I got to get on your level though of investment. I got to work my way up there. But dude, now learning about your story, like It sounds like 10x has a lot of things to offer. I might even just start looking there, because it sounds like they have 10x like couples, 10x business, they have 10x this, 10x. They have so many options where, and all those people are entrepreneurs. So I might start looking there.
Good, like I said, because almost anyone, like, it's crazy because the higher the mentorship you can say, the higher
Yeah,
the mentees you can say as well, because it's people that are willing to pay that price. So it's like the mastermind. You get in the room and it's like-minded people. They're in the same position as you, making almost probably the same or maybe a little bit more or less. Like, but there's somewhere in the park, So that's just like when you wanna like really. It depends how fast you want to go, You want to go a little bit faster, you're gonna have to put a little bit more money down, but all the connections that are gonna come from there, like it's crazy.
yeah. At the end of the day, I think I like to say, or one thing I've learned, it really is pay to play. Like, you have to pay to play. Like, you have to pay if you want the best networks and relationships and, you know, resources. Like, you really have to invest in yourself. And that's one thing I've learned too, just from like like investing in events. I think after that, I invested like a few $1,000 in like this marketing program and other things for like paid ads and stuff. And I'm like, dude, like when you put money down, like, one, it's gonna accelerate and get you there faster, but it's also gonna hold you accountable, because you're like, holy shit, I just spent 20,000 in this program. I'm gonna make sure it's worth it. Versus if it was free, you'd be like, yeah, I'll watch this stuff later on. You know what I mean?
And that's literally what happened with Grant. That first investment that I did was 40K, and
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, we got work to do. The first thing that I put in my mind, I flew
Yeah.
to Florida. I'm like, we got a lot of work to do. So I used the whole flight to make notes. I'm like, where am I gonna get started? And I'm like, I focused on three things. I got back to work. I implemented it. I had a team meeting. I'm like, hey guys, we need to get to work. But it's crazy because I always talk about this. Like, when you look at the time when I got back from the event, you look at that previous week to the week after the event, like, we had already like almost doubled the amount of money that we made in the week. So after we saw that, like, that instant growth after the month, like we're actually talking about it yesterday in our team meeting. It's crazy how since March of last year, like, things changed. We've always been like making more or staying plateau or a little bit of growth, but ever since March, it's been like just like this, just growing, and it's been growing by a few thousand, which is good, And more than anything, like in my experience, was just the leadership, making sure that you have a good connection with your employees, because if you look at Grant, you look at anyone doing big things, that's like the main thing. They have a very big team behind them. They're great leaders. They form more great leaders. So I was like, you know what, like, I'm gonna focus with that to start, because why would I focus on anything else? Because at the end of the day, if I'm not having employees are engaged in the workplace at all times, then it's gonna be hard for anything, So that's literally what I did. And something I learned from Grant too is that they have team meetings every morning, 15, 20 minutes before they start work, and it's all role play, and it's all talking about wins. That's how they start their day, and we implemented that. And we also implemented the one-on-one with employees, making sure that you're helping them in their PPFs, professional, financial, and personal goals. So that's also very important. So that's like one of the key changes that I did when I got back. And it's crazy because you can say that I got my money back within the next 40 days after I got back.
And then stuff like that, like you mentioned right now, like the personal, financial, what was the last one?
Personal, professional, financial goals.
Personal, professional, financial. Is that something you learned from like 10X that you implemented?
That's something that they talk about a lot, actually. And that's something that Grant talked about a lot, but it seemed like Grant really put that into play when Brandon Dawson came in and became a partner. Brandon Dawson, like to me, I see him as a little John Maxwell. Like, he preaches John Maxwell. So when he talks, everything he talks about, at the end of the day, it ends in leadership. So that's what I learned a lot from him, and I was seeing how they did things, because sometimes people can lie. People can say, oh, I have a team, blah blah, and then you look at the team, I'm like, I don't think he's real about that. But then when I was paying attention, I'm like, damn, these guys are a whole different level. Like, you didn't see a single person like yawning or like just at a different pace. Like, everyone was walking at the same pace. They sounded the same. Like, it's like crazy. Why? Because you have the right people in there, in a sense that they're all communicating well, but they're all committed, and they're all committed because as the leader at the top, they're helping them achieve all the things that they've never achieved. So it all starts right there. And at the end of the day, it's like it's like a transaction that you're doing. Like, they have a one-on-one with the employee, and it's like, hey, Rafael, if I help you get to XYZ, what are you willing to do for that in exchange? Oh, so the time you say, oh, anything. Okay, great. Here are some duties. This is what I expect, because you're not gonna believe in my goals if I don't help you achieve your goals. So that's normally how it goes. But once you do that, it's like employees are in a whole different level now. It's like you see the instant change. Why? Because if the things that they want to achieve really mean something to them, they're gonna do whatever it takes to get there. And then you hold them accountable. And then let's say a month passes by or 2 months pass by, and then you see that they're lacking the same energy they started with. You just talk to them. Hey, you're forgetting about XYZ because you're falling off. So it's always good to do that, because accountability like calls are so important.
And then let's talk about Rancho Express Loop. So what does that look like? You said like having a 30-minute meeting with them to talk about wins. Is that what you do?
I don't do 30 minutes. So the way we do it, we do 15 minutes. We do 15 minutes. We show up at 7:45. We talk about the previous day. Hey, so from yesterday till this moment, like, let's talk about wins. 2 wins per person, and it can be
any win, like personal, anything,
whatever win. Yeah, and it'll be like, oh, my team won yesterday. Oh, that's cool. What else? Oh, I did this. Okay, great. Or like this happened yesterday. Okay, great. Well, like I said, it's like you're already starting on a good note before the day starts officially. By the time you open the doors, it's like they're pumped up, because they're so focused on the positive that you don't even give them time to think about the negative. Or let's say that they weren't that pumped when they got here, but they start hearing wins, and then we're like, the way we end is like, all right, guys, let's look at more wins. We always talk about wins. And then obviously, I'm not saying we're perfect. We have wins every day, because that's not the case. But that's like something that has helped. And what we do now at the end of Monday, we have a 30-minute meeting. And on Fridays, we have an hour meeting. So that's to see the Monday meeting is to set the tone for the week. What are the goals, the expectation, what for, things to really look out for, at the end of the day, we follow KPIs a lot, and that's something that I had to get good at, because I was really bad at. And once I started doing that, like, I also showed them how to pretty much be able to understand them in a way that sometimes it's hard to be talking about numbers when you're lost. You're like, it don't make sense to me, because if we say, hey, we made 10,000 today, there may be someone in the room that 10,000 to them seems like 10 million, but then once you start breaking things down, the actual cost of goods, how much actually profit was left over, it's easier to understand. So on Fridays, we review the week, and that's where we're like, hey, like, this went good, this went bad, and let's focus on what went bad. Like, how can we fix that? What's the solution? And then that's when we have the meeting. That's why we make it an hour most of the time, because sometimes we even go over an hour, because we all get really engaged in it, because we want to fix it. We don't want to do the same thing next week. So that's something that has helped big time. And now they're so used to it. And at the beginning, they weren't. It's like, oh, I forgot we're having a meeting. Oh, I forgot we're having a meeting. But now it's like, no one has to say it. Like, oh yeah, meeting right now, or meeting. Oh, but wait, you're forgetting we have a meeting on Friday. That's right. Yeah. So it's like they know it, and that's the best way to do it, versus I can be like, this week we're meeting Monday and Tuesday, and then next week we're doing Wednesday, Thursday, or like, it's hard because they don't know like what's gonna happen. But I like setting days that way, like they know, like that's like the non-negotiable. Obviously, there's sometimes that people like do need a day off, like for example on a Friday, like we'll make arrangements, but they'll tell us like in advance, that way like we do, everyone's on the same page.
Yeah, man, that's I like the systems you have, like the 15-minute, the Monday, the Friday, because you need those times and you need that accountability and leadership. What when it comes to those Friday meetings, do you like share numbers with your team, or
Yeah,
you like you share numbers?
really like
Yeah,
have my wife bring us food. Just if it's something
yeah,
like light snack, just to like stay engaged. But we all we do is talk numbers. We talk like I show him the computer, get on the projector. We're like, hey, so this is the average ticket, this is the average call. We had this many calls, these many vehicles that came in, only this much sales. This was a closing ratio. Like what happened here? Like we want answers. So and that's when everyone starts speaking. Is like okay, and it makes the problem really easy to solve. And
and then
on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7:15, we meet for sales training. So that's between me and my two sales reps that I have. So like there's meetings technically throughout the whole week, but with my salespeople, we do that before work, and that's where we role play. And then sometimes we'll do one in the morning. Like we'll do one day in the morning and the following day after work. Because then when we say after work, most shops close like around 7 or 7:30. That's when we start calling other shops, and we want to hear how they sound, the way they answer the phone, price.
yeah,
That way we're like, oh, that's horrible. And then we no most of the time too, we'll run into one or two people that we like the way they answer the phone, and we'll take something out of it and we'll apply it to what we do, and that makes us better.
nice, nice. And what does the organizational chart look like? Because I know you're like the CEO, but like, is there like CFO, or how does that, or like what does that
So
look like?
in a business like mine, you don't really need all those things because
Yeah,
in the company we only have 9 people right now, and it's mainly like obviously I'm the CEO, my wife is the COO,
mhm,
my sister's my executive assistant, and then I have two other assistants for the shop. And then after there's like we have technicians, and then we have salespeople, and we have service writers, and then we have I have my own videographer as well, so he takes care of that. So the team has
yeah,
definitely grown, and it's crazy because before we even go into mentorship, I would have never thought like I don't need a videographer, I don't need an executive assistant,
yeah,
hell, I don't need a COO, I can do it all. But once you start, seeing what everyone is doing, like you want to apply in the same scenario. But the vision for the business is to I tell my guys like my job is to create more opportunities for you guys. Meaning that I want to open up more stores, and I want all my people to have their own store. So that's
mhm.
the vision for that, and then that way we create higher roles. And it's the big thing that we want is make it a franchise. Yeah.
That's cool, dude. I just watched the movie The Founder recently, maybe like a week or
Okay.
two ago.
No, I
Have you
have
seen it? Dude, you gotta watch it. So it's called The Founder, and it's basically how like McDonald's started franchising their stores.
Where's the movie at?
Uh, it's like on I don't know, I think Amazon Prime or Netflix or something. But it's pretty.
I'm gonna have to watch
Huh?
it this week.
Dude, I think you'll really like it because it shows like it was kind of like a mom and pop at first thing. Like there was the two brothers, and their last name was McDonald's. But then like in came like this visionary guy who's like, dude, this is so good, this has to be franchised. And then he ended up kind of like franchising all over the world and nationwide, and it's a pretty
I'm gonna
cool
have to
story.
check it out. Thank
Yeah. So you said franchising, right? That's the ultimate. That's a long
you. Yeah.
term goal.
Yeah. We can say
Yeah,
for the next 3 years.
the
Yeah.
next
So
3 years.
I'm actually gonna do that too with 10x. They have another program, 10x franchising. So
10x
yeah.
franchising. Dude, 10x has everything. It's like literally just
Oh yeah,
for,
now they
yeah,
have 10x HVAC, and I told them, I'm like, bro, we gotta get on the 10x automotive, and that's very good.
yeah,
Like, you know what? We didn't think about that. So, what I like about now that I'm spending a lot of money with them, like I'm building a lot of connections with the people higher rank, you can say. And what I like about what they're doing is that before we even like talk about franchise, like they're already doing research. So the process, they normally take about 10 to 11 months, but they're doing research like throughout the whole United States or wherever you want to open up more stores. They're looking at data to see if it's gonna be a good fit. What's around? What's the competition? Is it gonna be a hit? Is it not gonna be a hit? What's coming to that place? Like, that's what I like, because instead of me going and be like, hey, I'm gonna open up one in Newport Beach. I'm not from Newport Beach, so I'm just going. I want one in Newport Beach. So whatever's available, I can open it. That's like just not the best way to do it, So I like that, and obviously, there's another investment, but with that, like there's a shop that I know of, because I'm from up north by Lake Tahoe. There's a shop from Lake Tahoe actually that they had 2 locations, one in Lake Tahoe and one in Reno. They showed me all the facts, you can say, from that location. It went from making, I think it was in 2009, it was stuck at like 3 million. And in 2009 to 2014, they went to like 4 million after attending a couple of seminars with them. But where they're really exploded, I believe, was in 2016 when they did the 10X franchise. They opened up like 12 stores like throughout Vegas and Nevada, and then the guy made an exit, I believe, for like 50 million, and in less than 3 years. Yeah. And now I believe he works. He has a pretty good position that, like, I'm not sure if he's the one that helped with 10X HVAC, but like he's really high rank up there now in the 10X industry with Grant. So I thought, like, when I saw that, I'm like, damn, it's like the same exact thing. I'm like, if it worked for him, it can work for me. And what about if I stay locked? Right. I can only make a bigger exit.
Yeah, and then he already has that experience, and he's in the franchise thing.
Yeah, so it was a really good connection for me, especially like, I like that. What are the odds? When he told me he's actually from Lake Tahoe, like, bro, get out of here. Like, you're just full of that. No, like, I swear, look it up. Like, I'm not lying. And when I saw him, like, damn, dude, like, I know exactly where the shop is at. Like, it's Lake Tahoe is small. I'm like, I know exactly where it's at. So it was just crazy to see that.
You mean like South Lake Tahoe, right up north? Dude, it's so beautiful. The lake's so nice there. So that's where you grew up?
Yeah. I grew up there for 10 years. Yeah, for 10 years. And I've been over here for, damn, it's going to be 10 years too. Damn, 10 years in every place. I'm with it. I was 8 years in Mexico and another 10 years over there, and now 10 years over here.
Yeah. Nice. And then earlier you said your wife is your COO. Like what does that look like? Like, how's your guys' relationship working together? Because like me and Natalie, we also like work together in business a lot. Like what does that look like?
I love it. At first, I mean, it was you can say, I mean, not complicated, but more than anything for me, like I was like, you can say I wasn't a good teacher. I would like before I didn't really have patience. The fact that like if I'm gonna have to spend 30 minutes to show you something, like, you know what, I might as well I'll just do it myself. That was my mentality,
Yeah.
So, but you get to a point where like you can only do so much. So when she started asking, hey, like, obviously you need help. Like, where can I help you? And I started giving her little duties here and there. And when she started like getting it. I'm like, you know what, screw it, because she used to be a teacher for a private school.
Okay.
She went to school. She got her bachelor. She got her own thing going on. And I'm like, hey, like, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, but we love traveling, and you working is not gonna help, So let's do something. I really want you to come full into the business, and that way you don't go back to work with them. We grow together over here, and you're gonna be in charge of my operations. I'm like, I hate doing paperwork. Mm-hmm. I hate doing anything that's related to taxes. I hate all the operations. I hate it. I just be showing up with the ideas, and you do all the emails, you do all the other stuff, all the work, And she likes it. So now it's like, it's very good to have. And when we became parents, that was a little bit like you can say I took her for granted because I'm like, damn, like she can't do this right now, and it's like, damn, I have to go back to this. So that's when I taught my sister a little bit too. I'm like, hey, you know, you gotta take over right now, at least until she can come back like full time, you can say. But that's when like I really missed her, and I almost got a different person. But I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that because like I feel always like I'd rather have someone that like either becomes from a friend of a friend or recommended from somewhere, because I think it's a very important position and risk position to someone, you know. So
Right.
I'm glad it worked out, and yeah, it's great. We love it. Like there's no problems you can say from working together or none of that stuff. Obviously,
Yeah.
at first she's like, oh, I'm so tired of seeing you, but like now it's like we don't really like throughout the whole day we don't really talk because she's normally at home. Sometimes she will come up in the office, but normally when she's in the office, I'm not in my office. I'm either at networking events, I'm having meetings elsewhere, and that's normally how we do it. I think if we were like in the same office throughout the whole day, I think it'd be a little bit different. But since she knows what to do certain days, like we never really run into each other. Yeah.
Right. Right. Because you're so busy, and then she has her own things, and then I'm guessing she's probably more with the kid as well.
Now she's spending more time with the baby, and it's something that I told her too. I'm like, hey, I don't want a babysitter. Like I want like the first few years, I want you to like take care of her. Like if it means that you know I'm gonna have a little bit less of you, like when it comes to the business, it's okay. You know, we'll figure it out. So that's why like having my executive assistant help her now, it's even making things easier for everyone, for her, for me, and like we're getting more things done. But she's still the one like she knows what to do now. Like she knows how my CRM works. She knows like where numbers are looking when we're away. That she's always keeping track of that. And it's good to have that person, you know, doing that, because it's like, you know, you're in good hands. She's looking at it, she's paying attention to it. So it's definitely I'm grateful for that. And I'm also grateful for the fact that now, like, being the fact that she was working as a private teacher, there's a lot of things she learned from other schools that I remember when at the beginning I would make fun of her because she would come home and she would tell me, "Oh yeah, you know, my 4-month baby, they're doing this and they're feeding themselves." I'm like, okay, like I'll have to see it to believe it. And then one day she records it. I'm like, look, I'm not kidding. I'm like, damn, 3-month baby doing that already? I'm like, that's crazy. So that she did the same thing with our baby, and I feel like, damn, our baby's doing great just because of that. You know, like I see other babies, it's like damn, like my baby's like we're very like ahead in the fact that like she started teaching her like since she was like a month, you know, like grabbing the spoon, grabbing the fork, and like just doing all the little things that I would have never done, you know, like as a father, like I didn't think that would be such a big deal, you know, but that's the way that I can say I'm grateful in every aspect, you know, like I got really lucky.
Yeah, same here. Like I like how me and Natalie can work together, but she can also like, I mean, our kid is like 7 days old now, but like she's able to spend more time with the baby and like do all of that. Cause like when they're little, they're like sponges. Like they're just, you know, it's a time for them to learn and develop. So super important.
It's really important to spend as much time possible with them, you know, because that's like now my baby she's 1 year and 5 months. I feel like, damn, she's like, I felt like the first 3 months were like this. Like I felt like I didn't really enjoy them, you know, because it just like the way that when the baby was born, like I would come to work like around 9 because she would wake up like almost on night, and I would go back to the house like around 6 or 7 p.m. So I didn't really spend that much time when she was awake because most of the time she'd be sleeping, you know. So then I felt like I didn't really enjoy that part of her, you know. And now it's like she just wants to be walking. Like you hold her and it's like let me go, you know. Like she just wants to be playing, you know. So it's like if I could go back, I'm like I wish I would do that a little bit differently, you know. But
yeah, those moments are so special, especially when they're little. Dude, I love it. Like even if I ever leave the house, I just get so excited to come home and see the little guy. So
that's awesome.
so let I kind of want to leave off on these two last questions here. One of them is like, what is like your next 3-year game plan? Because I know, dude, you move super fast with like everything you do. Like, what's the vision for like whether it's franchising events? Like, what does that look like for you?
Overall, the next 3 years, I hope to have at least 20 stores open throughout the U.S. That's my minimum that I have so far. But the main thing is to do my own thing. You know, I want to do more events like everyone else. You know, I don't want to just have one. I want to do like one big one, and I want to have at least like 5 or 6 like masterminds or boot camps throughout the whole year. And I want to take it nationwide as well, not just here. So that's where like I like networking as much as possible to make that happen.
Yeah.
And are you familiar with the Aspire Tour, the Eddie Wilson and okay? Well, that's something that I really like. Like 1 week they'll be here, another week they'll be in Dallas, another week they'll be in Florida, another week they'll be in New York. And like it's like always top notch like event. Speakers, like the best of the best. And they started doing this, I believe, like 11 months ago, and like they're just exploding. So like that's something that I do want to do the same thing, and just being the fact that, you know, Albert always talks about it, you know, like Latino, like there's not a lot of events going on, especially in the Latino community. You know, in this area, Albert, he's dominating that side. You know, there's really no one nearby that you can say like it's closer to that level. In the fact that this is his 8th year that he's done it. It's gonna be his 9th year. So if you look anywhere else, it's like you don't hear. At least I haven't heard of any big names, any big events happening anywhere else. You know, Grant Cardone's over there in Florida dominating, but like, what about if someone in Florida in the Latino community starts dominating? What would happen? You know, because the Latino community is just taking over. So yeah, that's like my big vision for the next 3 years.
So take it to like different states, right? Like Florida, Texas, wherever.
Because my main the whole journey, you can say, in the next 10 years, I just want to be like an investor. You can say I don't want to do anything else. Like I would just want to be investing, putting my money to work. You know, I want to be making money as I sleep, and that's the way I want to work. You know, because I love traveling. I love traveling. So I want to dedicate that time, you know, now that by that time my kids will be bigger, and then we can start enjoying that time together.
Man, so dude, I honestly feel like super inspired. Like you got, all right, whoever's listening to this, you got to realize he went to a mastermind, and then 2 months later he hosted his own event. He invested over $300,000 in himself, and then like within the next 3 years, franchising over 20 stores, right? Taking it nationwide. So what I want to ask you now, like, what is one piece of advice you wish you would have received earlier when you're starting out? So like that would have changed maybe your approach now.
There's a few, but I feel like if I could go back, I wish I would have dreamed bigger from the beginning. I felt just like we're obviously everything's always against us. We're the minority, you know. So as things start shaping up for you, I feel like it's always like we always think small. It's like the big things can be for us. So I felt like if I could go back in time, like I wish I would have gotten started at least 2 years before, and I wish I would have had that mindset, like, you know, if it's for them, it's for me too. But that's one thing that I would change, like right there.
Yeah, that's powerful. Just dreaming big, knowing that it's possible. And it is kind of tough. Like you mentioned, the minority, like even for me, like before I got into like software engineering and computer science, like I kind of like didn't think like that role, like software engineering tech was for me, because no one in my community, like no one in my family, no one in my community did that until like I met a guy that worked at Google that was Mexican. And I was like, oh shit, he's Mexican. He's a software engineer. I was like, maybe I could do it too. But it's like, yeah, like you just have to know that anything out there is for you. Like I'm pretty sure anyone out there has done whatever you want to do before, and you can do it too.
It's that easy. So for me, that's like the biggest thing. And I like, it's that I'm very competitive. And that's not, I'm competing against my own, like you can say family, but if there's something I want to be known for, is like the guy that changed the family tree. That's like, that has always been like, since I was little, I'm like, I want to change the family tree. I don't know how, but like, that was just the idea, but I was like, I want to be making sure like we have a whole different tree coming out of this one, So that's why I say like, like I wish I would have dreamed bigger sooner.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Even like now with like the kids and everything, I'm like, man, I want to leave my kid with like way better off than how I started. So I love that, Nestor. So tell like the audience, like, where can people learn more about the next event for Infinite Growth Expo? Where can people find your business coaching, and like how can people learn more about you and follow you?
Of course. So I'm all platforms, the Nestor Gutierrez, and my business is 𝗪𝗁 𝗪𝗁 𝗪𝗁, also on all platforms, and Infinite Growth Expo is also on all platforms I name. You guys, if you want to be learning more from me, you can always follow me on any of those platforms, but you can also check me out. I have a website, 𝗪𝗁_Gutierrez.com, and that's where you can also learn more. I also do a lot of webinars, and I always want to be giving game to other people. I want to make sure that I'm helping you grow. It's just being the fact that I come from employee to CEO. I know exactly what I have to go through to get there. So that's where I like helping people.
Sweet. Cool, man. I think we can probably end it there. I'll keep it just rolling just in case, like, any of this last few, chat is good. But dude, that was killer. Like, you dropped some massive game, like really, really good. Like throughout the whole thing too. It wasn't even just like, you know what I mean? But that was really awesome.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm excited for people to listen to that. Like, it's cool because like I kind of watch your stuff online and kind of like keep up with you, but I didn't know like all the like even the like how you met Tim Story and David Meltzer, like all those stories. Like, dude, that's pretty cool. And like even a 10x coaching, I didn't know you invested that much into 10x. I don't know that. I just thought you were a coach, but I was like, oh shit.
It's crazy because I tell my wife, I'm like, if it would have been more like in a big sum that you can say like, hey, you're gonna invest this much a grand, like I would have never done it. But with even trying, like 15 here, 40,000 here, 20,000 here, 25,000 here, 30,000 over here, and it's like shit. How you do the math is like, damn, I'm really deep into this. Like, there's no way going back now, so it could have keep going forward.
Yeah, I mean it worked out because now you're a coach, right? And they reached out to you.
You said something earlier. The best thing is to invest in yourself because no one can take that away from you. So it's a big thing for me, and like I love learning from people that have done what I want to do. And if you also pay attention, like I'm really rare, like surrounded by people my age or younger than me. You always see me with older people, like at least in their mid-30s, in their 40s, in their 50s. But all the time, I'm always surrounded by those people. Why? Because I like listening. I like listening all the time. Like, if I'm sitting at the table, like I won't say a thing until someone asks me something. It's not that I want to be an introvert or I want to be quiet. It's just like I want to listen before I even speak, because I'm going to be speaking, I'm not learning anything. So that's the way that I like, you could say, networking. Obviously, I'll go shake hands, and then I'll pay attention, like, okay, who should I go after? Because every time I go to an event or any small or big, whatever size it is, even if it's just like a networking meeting, whatever it is, like, I ask myself, what am I after today? What am I getting out of this? Like, I tell myself, like, after and before, like, what was the objective? Did I get at the end of the day, or like, did I even get more than I was after? And normally that's what happens. Like, I'm in a really good position, you could say, in the network, because now, like, anything that I really need, like, I'm just like a question away. If it's through Albert or through anyone else, like, when you leverage the network of the network, it's like crazy. That's why they say the network is your net worth.
Dude, yeah, I totally agree for that. Like, so funny enough, during Albert's mastermind around that time, that was like the first kind of real time I started investing more into myself. I didn't invest over 30,000. I think during that time, oh shit.
Oh,
Oh, there we go. During that time, I think it was like, I don't know, like 40, 50,000 into like different other programs. But I realized that moment when I put all that money down, I was like, dude, this shit works. Like putting money down and investing in yourself works. Like every time I put money down, I got more out. It's like, but ever since then, I kind of like slowed down a bit. But like now, kind of talking with you, I'm kind of even more inspired. I might even look into what 10x has to offer. And one thing for me too, I need to go to more events and masterminds. That's where things like,
it's
yeah,
like for me, like that's if you look back, that's really the where the biggest growth has came out of me, like just the events. You know why? Because I do go talk to people, and when I met Tim's story, when I saw Tim, like I didn't even know Tim was gonna be there. I don't think he was even supposed to be there, but I think I met him last minute. So when I went in the building, I'm like, oh, I'm after Tim. I'm like, I have to get close to Tim, you know. So I was like my target. I would start talking to other people, but at the end of the day, I was just looking to see at what time Tim would be available. And as I saw that Tim was about to leave, I'm like, hey, Tim, like, you got 2 minutes? I just want to talk to you real quick. And that's when I took my shot, you know, and like I live off that model, you know, Michael Jordan, you know, like you miss all the shots that you don't take, you know, so like, what's the worst that he can say? You know, no, like, obviously he's not going to say no. So that's why, like, I feel like you can say the elevator pitch or the 2-minute signature talk is really good to have, because you never know who you're next to or in what position or running into at any place that it can just change your life forever, you know?
yeah, I like how you strategically name drop too, dude. That's such a smart move.
Yeah, that's I've learned that from Albert, because that's something that he has mentioned before. Like, oh yeah, you know, like always leverage the people that are in your network. You know, oh yeah, my buddy this person, my buddy this person. That way that you're gonna open up a little bit more, and then that's gaining credibility towards you. So that's how I do that.
Earlier today, I saw your school thing, and I've been diving super deep into school. So I'm gonna just share like some game on what I've been learning here. Let me share. Cool. So I saw so actually today I started working on this like school community thing. And so this is actually, I told Albert this earlier. I was actually talking to Albert today earlier, because he was asking me how he can get more sales for his like mastermind. And what I told him, here's what I was telling him. I was like, I think you should do like a like low ticket community thing, like his Driven Academy on school, and then like sell his like Driven events, mastermind, coaching, and all of that from here. So that's kind of what I was telling him, like, because then people who spend money here are most likely going to spend money over here. So after kind of like thinking about that, I'm trying to do something similar for our own business, where we have like a school and then we can just kind of like tell them about our other stuff. So this is like our school here, and then like here's like our free one-on-one strategy on here. What you can do too is like, I'm kind of learning about this from other people that do this, but in your image, just write like everything that's going to be like included in the course. So you could be like all of the 10x coaching, like, I don't know, events, recorded events or something like that. Like list everything you have, and we could be like bonus weekly live mastermind calls. You could even add like kind of different headlines, and like reviews and all that stuff. So this is kind of what I'm doing here. And then in your description, just kind of like same thing again, just write like everything they're going to get, like 10x masterclass, normally $5,000, but you're going to get it for whatever it is. You know?
So
yeah,
we moved to the school community too. I just liked it because, like you said, you know, it's a trend, and a lot of people seem to be using it. So that's why I wanted to use that. But my understanding is the more people that are coming into your school, the more it's like a search engine, right? The more views you will get from other people.
Yes, exactly. So that's what I was telling Albert too. I was like, what's cool about it is it's basically like a search engine. So like people have joined mine just from if being on school. So if I look up like I don't know, like, I mean, let's look up 10x, see if anything pops up. 10x Secrets Club. But yeah, like if people search you up, they can find you on here. But also, if your community is really good, it's going to show up at the top.
And do you need a specific amount of people to be shown at the top? Like
not really, but I think it tells you your rank somewhere. Like let's see, metrics. There's somewhere where here discovery. So you like rank 7,000. So number of members, posts, activity. But yeah, like if you're ranked higher, then people will just naturally find it.
Okay. Yes, that's what I would get. That's why like you said, I'm probably even gonna drop the price even lower. Like make it, like you said, really cheap. To start creating the community, because something that I am gonna do soon is like the 5K mastermind that Albert does, not 5K, maybe like I'll do like 1,000 or 2,000 or whatever, but every time like bring someone out, I'm to a point now that I can bring someone like for different categories, like for business, or if you wanna start writing your own book, or if you for taxes, or real estate, or flipping, or wholesaling, or whatever the case is. Like I want to leverage that now that I have people in that network, and then use that to have people actually come in person, and only like limited to like 10 or 50 people. So that's why I'm also trying to get like a bigger office in the area, so I can be doing that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. The other thing you can do is like, there's different strategies to go about it, but there's some people that do free communities, and then they'll have like a premium one. So there's stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, school's cool because then you could have like if you do like weekly calls and stuff, you can have it on here. And then like you have your leaderboard stuff too. But dude, I like it. And then Alex Hormozi recently partnered with them. I don't know if you saw that, but yeah, so he partnered with them, and so he's like blowing it up. And then there's people on here making like this guy's making 180K a month.
Just
this guy's making school. Yeah,
that's crazy. That tells you all those numbers.
Yeah, this is if you opt into their like game, it's like a competitive thing. They're like that they're doing. It'll show your numbers. Yeah, there's people on here making good money just from their community.
Even making 100K from this, like.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. So actually today I started working on mine, because basically I just want to use this as a lead funnel to become like our paying clients, where I'm just gonna drop like free, like Go High Level Masterclass, Notion, a bunch of other resources, and eventually if they like the stuff, they'll become a paying client.
So you got what you're doing right now is like pretty much creating the courses.
Yeah, it's like I'm like pretty fresh.
Drop knowledge, so if they like it, like you said, they can convert into higher ticket.
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah, so I'm actually today I was working, putting this together, but yeah, I saw yours, so I was like, oh, like, let me kind of share what I've learned. Like doing this stuff will make it kind of more attractive.
Because honestly, I haven't been really, like, you can say marketing it as much. The way I've been doing it is like actually like texting or shooting a DM through Instagram about it. And that's how people join, but I haven't really been promoting it as much.
Yeah, you could just, or like even DM me the word like coaching or something, 10x, if you want to join, doing posts like that.
Right. Yes, we do.
Cool, man. Well, this was super cool. I learned a lot from kind of like what your experience and all of that stuff. And funny enough, for a long time, I've been telling Natalie, I was like, we got to do events. Like, we got to do events. So that's definitely on our radar. I don't know at what point, but I might have to do what you do, just set a date and then just try to just make it happen.
Because
the
way I was if it were for Albert, I don't think this thing would ever really happen, because I was more like, I want it to be perfect. So I want to get the location first. I want to get this. I want to get that, and then I'll get the speaker. But like, they work a little bit differently. They want to have speakers start committing, because let's say you have average or medium, like not very well known speakers, and then we have Andy Elliott that says yes. Well, you don't want to put a date, because what about if Andy Elliott can do that day? Is like, you have to like work with him. If he says, okay, what date? Oh, well, tell me what date are you available? You know, like I was thinking blah blah blah. So does that work for you? Oh, you know what? Let's do it this day, because this day does work for me. Okay, great. Hey, everyone else is gonna be this day. And now, because Albert told me, I don't know if he shares that with anyone else, but he said that normally he doesn't get the venue until like 2 or 3 weeks before. I'm like, bro, you're crazy. I mean, crazy. But it's like, if you look at anyone big, all the people, Grant Cardone, everyone, they start selling stuff before it even exists. Like all the everything, and that's all the same thing. We know that with the event, when Albert does it, like he's promoting. He goes hard like a month or 2 months before, and like there's still no venue. There's still a lot of nothing. You know, that's why if you pay close attention, he'll start posting about like the location, like going to the places like 2 or 3 weeks before, because early getting into the location. Luckily, like for them, is like there's a bunch of places, there's a bunch of venues in LA and surrounding areas. Over here, like I said, it was scary, because there's only so much. There's not a lot of options, you know. So I'm like, dude, like, it almost forced me to go towards Orange County or LA, but I was kind of like not the purpose, because I wanted to do it over here, you know, because there's nothing like that over here. But I think, yeah, you should just go for it. Like, just be like, hey, you know, like, set the date, or don't even set the date. Be like, hey, you know, I just want to do it in December or November, or whatever seems right. Start like talking to people and just make the best out of it, because I know Anderson. You know, have you seen Anderson from the Mastermind from Orlando? He comes on the coaching with Albert. Well, he did his own event too. Same thing, you know, same exact thing. He had about 200 people, and now he's creating a community. There's another guy that is also part of it. His name is Chris. He's having his event in November. He actually wants me to be part of it, and I'm like, bro, I'll be there to speak. You know, like I'm not known yet, but like I'll be there just to fill in a spot. You know, like it's totally fine with me. So he's doing his own event, and then there's someone else from the group too that I know that they're doing their own events. So a lot of people are starting to do their own events. So I think it's good to do, especially because once again, in the industry that you're in, like I feel like no one else is doing an event like to that category. Oh, like I think it'd be great, great to do.
Yeah, I think it's a smart move, and like there's a bunch like Ryan Pineda, like all these people are doing events because it works, and it's like actually helps the brand. And
like I said, it doesn't make you money like right away, but the money comes later. You know, if people like the event, they'll stick with your community. You have a nice offer. Some will buy, some won't, or you never know what can happen. You know, but it's just planting that seed for the future. So yeah. I think that's why this is one of the best things you can do.
Cool, man. Well, hey, I appreciate your time, Nestor. I'm gonna have to bring you on for round 2 once you got some more knowledge to drop. But I appreciate it, and I'll let you know once we kind of get this edited and we're gonna go live with it. But I'm excited to get this out.
I appreciate it, bro. And once again, thank you for having me on here.
Cool. All right, Nestor. Talk to you later. Peace out.